Hello everyone, my name is Avkash, and in this tutorial we are going to learn how to debug the FastAPI specific backend Python code with your favorite IDE, whether it's PyCharm or it's Visual Studio Code. So if you are a FastAPI based backend application developer in Python, you already know what I am talking about. Sometimes it's get hard for some people to configure their IDE, whether it's PyCharm or Visual Studio Code, so that you can debug your FastAPI specific code. It is very important because debugging through print is never going to work. It is very time consuming and it is not going to help you. And not only that, it frustrates you and it frustrates others. So debugger capabilities while you are writing Python code is very important for everyone. And if you are a FastAPI developer and you need some help to get your IDEs, whether it's PyCharm or Visual Studio Code, set up to debug your FastAPI Python code, this is the video tutorial you need. So let's get ourselves started. So here I already have a Python project. It's empty. There are no files already created in PyCharm. Next, I'm going to set up the interpreter for it. Right now it's set for 3.8. I do have 3.9, so I'm going to set up the 3.9 here. The steps to set up debugger for FastAPI are going to be same for both 3.8 and 3.9. So the Python interpreter version 3.9 is set and it is running at the Conda environment. So let's add the main code file. So I will call it app.py. After our app.py is created, so you just need these three different packages which are required for you to get your FastAPI code working. So first we need to import certain modules from FastAPI. So first we need the FastAPI module. So we are going to import, so import from FastAPI, let's import FastAPI. And that is what is going to define our ASGI server gateway. So app equals FastAPI, and if you don't want anything, you can use this and it's totally fine. However, if you'd want to set up your title description, you can actually set up here. So that will be your app title. After that, you can also set up the description. If you would want to set the version, that is also available. So you can set 0.0.1. So that's your ASGI server gateway initialization. In the next step, we are going to mount the static folders and the template related to our project. So it's better we create the static folder. It's better we also create the templates folder. And in the templates folder, we can actually create our index file. So let's create the index file here, index.html. And it is just very simple code. So let's have the HTML code application title. So that is our very simple index file, and that is in templates folder. Come back to app.py. Let's set this up. So we need to mount our static folder. So app.mount. Here you could set what you would want to. So you are setting the static. And remember, it's just at the root. So from app, it's just at the root. So static is our folder. So now we need to set our static files. So we can come here from FastAPI, import static files. So I think they are in static files, if I'm right. Yeah, static files. And those static files are referenced here. So static files, they are directory equals static and just the name is static. in this step, we have mounted our static folder. Next, we have added the index.html and in our templates folder. So let's try to set our templates. So we are going to define our templates, and these templates are going to be the Jinja templates. So let's import the Jinja templates. So from FastAPI, and we need to look for Jinja templates. So they are from templating, import Jinja to templates. So these are the Jinja 2 templates, and directory will be templates. Now our templates are set. So let's set up our main entry function. So if name is equal to main uvicorn. So now we need to get the uvicorn. So let's import the uvicorn, import uvicorn. And that's what we are using here. So uvicorn.run. And remember whatever our application name is. So here application is app.app. This is what is going to run code, and host is going to be 0.0.0.0. And finally the port, and we can say the port is equal to 8000. So that's all our basic code we have. Now we need to set up our runtime configuration, Python, and I just call it app runtime 3.9. So it's the 3.9 runtime, and here I will not going to set up the debugger first. I will just going to use the app.py. So we are using app.py. No parameters are set. This is our working folder, and it's using Python runtime 3.9. So that's our runtime for this project. So let me click this debugger. You see here the code is running, and it started at port 8000. So here our code is running, but our index.html is not integrated. We need to add the route here. So let's add the route here first. @app.get. So we are using the get, and our path will be WAC. It means when somebody comes here, they should be able to get our index.html. And we can also set up the response class. So response class will be the HTML response. So HTML response, it means we do not have, so we need to add that thing. From FastAPI responses, we need to get HTML response. We also need the plain text response. So this HTML response is actually the response class for us whenever WAC is going to be used. Now we can define our method. So we can say define get home page. You can use any function name here, and request going to be request. So now we need to define the request here. So let's come back here from FastAPI.requests, import request. So this request is basically here. So now we have defined our method get home page, and that's coming from WAC HTML response type. And here we could return this template we have just created. So return the templates dot template. We already have template response, and remember our index.html, and because we have request, so we could set up the JSON here, and the JSON will be home. Let's do this. So these two warning messages will be gone. But if you try to reload, you see that debugger reload is not working with debugger. So I have to stop it. I have to restart our application. Okay, close this, not. And then right now the index.html is binded with our application, and now our FastAPI code at least working. So far we haven't added any API to it. So let's add one hello API, which is really very simple get. So I can create a new hello API, app.get. Again, it's so simple. So we can say vac hello, and it is going to have response class is the HTML response. Define, say hello is our method name. Return. Remember, this is request, and if I would want to send the plain text response, I can actually say send the plain text response, and here I can say hello from FastApi backend. We have added, we cannot make this hello call here because application, we need to set up the debugger plus reload together. Application is running, hello from this. So our next step will be to how to set up the debugger. We need to stop running right now. We need to come back to edit configuration, and here we are going to use the module name, and module is going to be uvicorn for us. So that's the module we are using. The next step going to be that we need to define what are the parameters, and our parameters will be app::app. And remember why they are app::app, because our main is app::app. If your app.py would have been main.py, then you can say main::app. And then you have to tell that you would want to reload. So your application will be reloaded if there is any change encountered by the IDE. So that's, we have set it up. Let's apply it. We can, okay, if you have more parameters, they can be added also here. Like for example, if you would want to change the port, which we will do later. Let me close it. Now our runtime configuration has been changed. Let's debug it. At this point, you could say that connected to PyDev debugger. Debugger is connected. This is our hello. If you would want to change, for example, you can say FastApi Python backend. You save it. You say reload happened again. There you go. You do not need to stop your application and restart it. So that is what helps you if you have the debugger connected with your FastApi application. And reason we had to do that way, because the way our module uvicorn is used to run our FastApi based ASGI server application. If we go no hello, we are still back to our application. And if you would want to change the port, then you have to one time stop your application. You will come back here, edit configuration. You will add -- port, and you can use 8080. Let's apply. Okay. Start the debugger. Debugger started at 8080. Now 8000 will not work, but 8080 is going to work. So that is how you could change your port with uvicorn. And that's all you really have to do in order to get your FastApi based Python backend working with uvicorn module based debugger. Now we will open our project in Visual Studio Code. So our code, which we have just created, is opened in the Visual Studio IDE. So very first thing what we need is to set up our runtime interpreter. And in order to set up the runtime interpreter, you can use the Shift Command P, which opens up the configuration terminal or the configuration command, where we could configure several things, and you can search for Python and you will get this select interpreter option. Once you are going to use this option, you could select an interpreter which is going to be applicable to this project which you have just opened. If you want to know where your Python interpreters are loaded, you could actually exit from here, look this option, and this option is going to check for the Conda runtime if you have installed in your machine, and all the Conda runtimes available in your system, as well as if you have the base or the Python environment directly installed in your machine. So we are going to select this Python 3.9.7, which is based on Conda environment. So that is our environment. Once your environment is set, you can open the terminal window, and depending on what environment you have set, you will see that Python environment is ready for us, which is 3.9. And if we try to check its version, it must be 3.9.7. It means this application, when it's going to run, it's going to use Python 3.9.7 runtime environment. I can close this terminal if I would want. After our environment is set, the next step for us to set up the runtime configuration. So here was our list of Python environment available, and here is the runtime configuration. So either you could choose here or you can choose this option too. So if you see that I do not have any configuration, this is my project application, and here is my runtime configuration. There is nothing. So I can select one for you. So here you can see that I can select, so I need one for Python and one for FastAPI. So let's select Python file first. So it knows that what runtime we have. Based on that, a configuration file is going to be created for us. So it's a no configuration. We can select here, and as you could see, there is no configuration for us. So we could actually manually add a configuration here. So we can say the configurations, and depending on our configuration, we could create a new configuration here. So once we have configuration, we can the place where the application is already running, and we can validate it using browser, and our application is running on localhost port 8000, and here is our application is running. I can stop. The application has a stop, but there is no configuration. So we can add the configuration. So here, depending on our system, you see Run and Debug. So here is the configuration. So we can say add configuration, and we are adding configuration for Python and for Python file. So this is the configuration added. We can add here configuration for Python, and we can add configuration for Flask, and our application is app.py. So we can see app.py, and that's where your environment for FastAPI. So we have added these two configurations. So if you are going to open this file, and if you will try to run, the runtime environment will try to launch this launch.json. So the best option is you close it, you select your app.py. So this is your app.py because that's the current file. And now you can select your runtime, and here you could select current file, means whatever file is open, and then you will say run it. Our application has started, and the debugger has started at 8000, and our code is still working. It means the one current file runtime is working with the debugger correctly. Let's stop it. Now we are going to select the FastAPI, select the file, and here we are going to make few changes. Rest of the settings are correct. We need to make sure that our arguments are set correctly. So our argument, our application is app.py, so it's an app, and then it's a type of app. Next, we need to set up the reload, so application will be reloaded. Then we need to set up the port if we would want to change the port. And then finally, we can say we want to run on 8080 port. So we have added these 4 new parameters. We can close it, come back, app.py, run, and then select the FastAPI. Once we select FastAPI, we could start it in the same terminal. As you could see that uvicorn is running, and it's using 8080. Let me change here. Our application is running. Remember, we do have the API hello integrated. Let's call the hello. Hello is working. If we would change here to VSCode, save it, code is updated, make call, and it means the debugger is working successfully with FastApi. If you would want to check the Swagger interface, just call the docs, and that tells you the Swagger interface to FastAPI based Python backend. The instructions to set up your Visual Studio Code IDE are also added to the same FastAPI Quick Start README document. So for those who would want to make sure that their configuration file matches correctly, they can always follow up this example. The steps which we have covered in our tutorials are documented here for anyone who would want to get the FastAPI quickly running in their Python 3.8 and above environment. Step 1, install the packages. Step 2, create the static and template folder with index.html. Step 3, write the Python code dependent on FastAPI. And step 4, run your application. That's all. And you are good to go. So that's all I had for you in this tutorial. I hope you have enjoyed the content in my video. If you have liked it, please do share it. Please subscribe my channel and also comment your feedback or any suggestions you have. I do appreciate your time and I'm looking forward to see you in my next video. Until then, please be good and do good. Thank you.